Born and raised in the ghetto, who knew that a young boy from Kenya's largest slum would turn out to be a reckoning force in the country's TV and film industry? This is the insane story of Abel Mutua. My name is M-Pesa. Barely 4 years after an attempted coup on the then president Daniel Arap Moi, and the country was undergoing a major but strained transformation under the new president, Abel Mutua was born on 28 August 1986 in Kenya's Umoja Estate in Nairobi Eastlands. At a tender age of 4, he begins developing interest in watching TV at a time when there was only one TV station running the country, The Voice of Kenya, VOK, which later came to be known as Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, KBC. This interest with TV programs grew even the more with the introduction of a new TV channel in the early 90s, KTN, Kenya Television Network. While still in lower primary and interacting with kids from the higher middle class, he gets introduced to the then local cinema screening, where one will pay a mere 5-shilling coin to watch movies, especially from Hollywood. This realization of something more than just watching TV programs intrigues him the more, to the extent he will at times miss his classes and spend the whole day in the cinema screening, enjoying the movie classics of the likes Arnold Schwarzenegger, The Commando, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and the likes. His mom later realizes these escapades, and that earned him some serious beating. However, it is this part of his life that formed a very integral segment of what was to later evolve. For a better part of the 1990s, Abel lived with his younger brother and their mom, who had managed to raise them as a single mother after their dad deserted them due to unclear reasons. Towards the late 90s, his mom, who had been working at the government Ministry of Agriculture, happens to meet a gentleman working for the Ministry of Health. They strike a conversation. Turns out the man had 5 kids but had just lost his wife. Long story short, a beautiful love story was just to unfold. The two decide to live as couples. Not long enough, Abel's family moves from Umoja to Kibera, where the man stayed with his kids, and that becomes their new family of 7 kids. The year was 1998. Fast forward years later, after his high school education in Makueni Boys, Abel applies for multiple courses at the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication. He gets an admission to do a course in telecommunication engineering. However, after a day in class, he knows for sure this is not what he wants to do. Remember, his dream more than 6 years ago was to do broadcast journalism. Coincidentally, on that same day in school was another student who had been admitted to do a course in film production. That student, however, wanted nothing to do with that course and badly wanted to do telecommunication engineering. Word went round very quick, and this information reaches Abel. Long story short, the two meet up and they switch their courses. Abel takes up film production course while the other guy takes telecom. But remember, Abel's dream is broadcast journalism. All in all, he takes up the course hoping he could transition to broadcast somewhere along the way. However, something happens. The moment he begins his film production classes, he notices this could actually be what he wanted all along. Remember him at the local cinemas in his childhood? The interest he developed with films, he realizes in these classes that he is actually privy to how those films were made, all the way from pre-production to production. No more broadcast journalism. This is where he is gonna stick. Henceforth, his interest got switched to be a filmmaker. Towards the end of his course at the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication, where he had joined the school's drama club, a new TV station in the country had just begun a program and was in need of actors or talents. During one of the drama festivals, one of the producers from the TV station happened to be among the judges. In fact, he was there to look for talents to fill up some roles on the TV program. It was at this time that the producer notices Abel and some of his other colleagues with their powerful talents on stage. This was the genesis of Abel's journey to TV, which saw him take up an acting role in one of what will be Kenya's leading TV stations, Citizen TV, in a program called Tahidi High, a drama and comedy show that blew up to be the biggest thing that had ever happened to Kenya's TV history. This was sometime in 2007. Now on TV for about 2 years, Abel and his close friend and colleague by the name Philip Karanja notice a few things happening on set and production of the TV show. With their background in film production in school, they feel something about the production was off and needed a change. They, however, hold back since they were just but mere actors in the show. It was during this holding back that came the birthing of something that will later turn out to be very crucial in their lives and careers ahead. Abel and his friend Philip decide, instead of introducing changes to the show, why not come up with their own production where they would do things their own way. Come on, these were just two mere young men barely out of college. I mean, there wasn't really much they will do. However, the duo have this in reserve, and from then henceforth, this became a dream, a vision, an ambition to them. Inasmuch as they continued with their roles in the TV show, they would always remind themselves of this dream and ambition, to do things their own way.
Tembo alisema hataki kuziona.
You know these quiet people like Mr. Tembo, wabaya tu sana wakikasirika.
You just tell me, what can Morgan do Miss Chebi can't? Because frankly, Morgan, all she does is just scare us, the students and the staff. According to me, Morgan should go. Huh?
And the CD too.
Is a son to one man, Ismail Mohammed, the Benz guy he had met more than a decade ago in his early years while strolling the Kibera streets. Quite out of this world, right? Again, it was around this same time that Abel had purchased and owned the same sleek German machine he had long foreseen. Abel would later quit Tahidi High, leaving behind his friend Philip Karanja, who had other roles to play in the show's production. After his days in Citizen TV's Tahidi High, Abel later gets contracted to be part of the production crew in a TV show on KTN under Portal Studios. The show, dubbed Hapakule News, has a successful run with Abel doubling up as a scriptwriter and also behind the camera. It was on this show that he gets to meet and work with great talents like Timothy Kimani, aka Njugush.
Ustakeona. So Watunguyas, nisaidieni kukaribisha none other than the Deputy President himself. Mtunguyas, uko salama?
Asante sana, niko salama sana.
Safi maze.
Mambo ni aje?
Niko salama.
This show had a segment that would later give birth to a new show under the same production house, The Real Househelps of Kawangware. With the introduction of this new show, there was a need for more crew. Abel reaches out his friend Philip Karanja, who would later leave Tahidi High show and join the new show as a director. These two would play virtually all roles from scripting, casting and directing. This was around the year 2014. After about 2 years and way into production of the 8th season of the show, something happens. Abel and Philip, who at this point had coined a name for themselves, Feel It, came up with a new demand. Since they had played a heavy role in the show's production, they demanded the showrunners to credit them as a production company, with their logo being displayed at the end of the credits. They pushed for this, but the idea was not welcome. This was sometimes in late 2015, early 2016. You remember the days back in Tahiti High? Seemingly, the demon of doing things their own way was not to let go anytime soon. With no one to heed to their demands, they had no option but to leave the show altogether. That year following their exit spelled one of the toughest financial times for the two guys, with no show, meaning no income stream. An idea of a show comes up and they decide to look for funds to produce it. After pulling strings, they finally produce a pilot episode and begin pitching it in all the TV stations, but as fate would have it, no station was willing to pick it up for a reason or two. With nothing much to do, Abel was ready to do anything for survival, be it sliding into an 8-to-5 job. Apparently, it was at this same time that he had met a friend of his who was offering him an opportunity for an 8-to-5 office job. He was, however, reluctant to take it and tells the guy to give him some time to think of it. At about this same time, their previous show, The Real Housewives of Kawangware, TRHK, had begun re-airing in a new station called Maisha Magic East. The producers in this new station would later notice a change in the show's scope and storylining. Upon inquiry, they were informed that the original runners of the show had since left. These managers and producers go ahead and ask for their contacts, and your guess is as good as mine. Just before Abel takes up the 8-to-5 job offer, he receives a call from Philip Karanja, who had been contacted by the Maisha Magic East team, and this became another genesis of their road into a whole new world. They meet up with the team, and they in fact let them know that they had earlier submitted a pilot episode of their new show in that TV station. The managers take a look at it, and they are blown by the amazing concept the pilot episode had. Long story short, they sign up a contract as a production company, Feel It Productions, and have since been responsible for the production of several hit shows like Suna Johnny,
Ndio kazi na kutonga nyumbani kila siku. Slay Queens atuzekangi, iko hadi kwa constitution. But we're taking over.
Hula Balu Estate,
Kuna mtu amenioa, kama kuna mtu amenioa peleke mali kama town pepi.
Mzini aondieki.
Ni aondieki. Sisi tunaongea tu maneno mengine tu hapa ya. Mambo ya wase. Mambo ya town.
Sasa hujatuma makoko kwa
My Empress, amongst others.
Summarize. It's late. So, you guys know my #1 local celeb.
Solid.
I meant there's our waiter.
Hii saa nayo, hii saa nilinunua Radan.
Mi sleepwalking imechokeshwa. Sasa itibiwe tu once and for all.
The virus officially hitting the U.S. Here's what we know.
The first case of the deadly Chinese coronavirus making its way to the U.S.
Barely 4 years into their new environment and with the production of their new show, Undercover, underway, then hit the COVID-19 pandemic in early 2020. Suddenly, everything came.
2004 vitu mobs happen. Now once Sanaipei Tande, who is the subject of our story today. Hey, yeah.
They share the story against Islam.
Wakurugenzi! My man, season 3 young and stupid kama K.
The growth of the YouTube channel was insane, earning a mammoth number of subscribers within a very short time of its creation. This was now around May 2020. Out of these extraordinary storytelling techniques, Abel would later create more show titles such as Stories of My Life, Headline Hitters, and the infamous Celebrity First Encounters. At a time when production companies and other businesses were shutting down across the globe thanks to the pandemic, there seemed to be a new unfolding on this other side. Abel's storytelling had taken a different twist and had just garnered quite a cultic following. It's now grown into something huge to an extent it needed a crew. Within no time, there was now a whole team handling the production of the stories. A whole production team had been created amidst the ongoing pandemic. With the massive support from the fan base, this became just the beginning of greater things to unfold. As the adage goes, nothing beats consistency. Abel remained fair enough to his fanbase by offering not only new, fresh content but also maintained consistency. Of importance to note is that the dude is greatly gifted with storytelling techniques, to the extent that he could simply narrate a well-known story, but you'd still listen through it from the way he packages it. He happens to narrate one crime story that really struck the audiences. It was so well crafted that it seemed like a movie. The fans then made a very costly mistake. They demanded the story to be reenacted into a full feature film. They wanted to see that in movie format. Needless to say, this was a challenge that saw Abel's transformation from TV show production and now into the world of movie making. He well understood what the cost implication would be, but together with his team, they later orchestrated everything, and about 2 years later, in 2022, a movie was born, the famous Click Click Bang. This is without forgetting that in the previous year, they'd already set the ball rolling with the production of their first feature film, GLL, a movie that happened to beat Hollywood's James Bond No Time to Die at the box office opening weekend in the 254. For the first time in the history of Kenya's cinema, multitudes were seen lining up for tickets at the theater to watch a Kenyan-made film in an all-sold-out manner. GLL had already set the ground rolling, and with the dawn of the second film, Click Click Bang, the success couldn't get just any better.
Kuna trials tulipiga last weekend. Msema Norway tunaingia na ndege saa ngapi?
Promise utanisahau.
If only I had the last say.
The scope of cinema and film in the 254 was fast changing, thanks to Abel and his Philly team. Abel continues to do what he does best, storytelling. Extraordinary narrations aimed at informing, educating, and entertaining the masses. The demon possession of doing things their own way seemed to have well paid off. Together with his colleagues Philip Karanja and Bob Moredi, they ran the Phillies Productions Company, which has undoubtedly employed tens upon tens of souls around. Among their core objectives was to bring forth a production that would impact and be felt by the masses, hence the coined word, feel it. It may fade in the winds without saying that during his time on TV production, Abel has been behind the creation of several talents and characters that we currently know. For instance, he is behind the creation of the character DJ Shiti, who later turned out to be one of the biggest names in the Kenyan comedy scene.
Kwani kiateka alifanya nini? Watu wanafikiria imili na meanga na mvua kama mahindi. Lazima chakule raruliwe papa. Pana leta mchezo kwa uwanja wa tumbo.
This is not to mention the many other talents that we see around. With the introduction of the Real Housewives of Kawangware show, Abel brought forth a unique craft and TV writing style that heavily incorporated the use of satire and humor mixed. This style, laden with punchlines, would give the audience a feel of stand-up comedy being delivered on TV drama.
Na by the way, Monroe ni nani?
Naona siku hizi wewe na Uda mko ligi moja. Amefungua group ya WhatsApp.
Nikajaribu poko. Mami ntunkieke. Ate? Poko. Boxing.
Kusema kweli ile mradi nilikuwa na ligogo ukuta.
Na mbona mko bomoa hiyo ukuta?
Get tools. Hatukuwa na tools.
You remember when we mentioned the TRHK show being re-aired on the new Maisha Magic East TV, and the managers will later notice a change in the show's luster? Now you have your answer. Abel's story is not only inspirational but one of pure passion, grit, commitment, focus and consistency that has seen him live out his dreams. From his childhood days of enjoying the local theatre in the hood, to meeting one Ishmael Mohammed and developing a passion, to joining film school and realizing his dream of being a filmmaker, to joining TV through Tahiti High and later taking up screenwriting. Through all these, one can see a story that is so well joined up with unseen dots that you may wonder whether it was all made up. And this is what makes his story insane. The dots are so well connected in a unique and unbelievable way. With the numerous lives he's touched in the line of his career and living out his dream, it will not be more of an overstatement to say that the guy is one living legend, truly in deserve of our recognition. Oops, I got to rest my pen here meanwhile. Oh wait, just before I leave, you may have noticed the subtle underlying timelines in this dude's progression. A pattern of 4 years. 4 years in acting on Tahiti High, 2007-2011. 4 years of TV script writing, 2012-2016, Tahiti TRHK. 4 years in the new Philip scope, 2016-2020. 2021 to present, a new scope in movie making. Yo, mkurugenzi. What new stuff, by the way, should we expect in this new 4-year pattern? Ama tuwache kuwari, cause you already got us. Hey, 3:20 a.m. Hey guys, I gotta sleep. Let me take supper. But before that, kindly subscribe to this channel for more content, for new, fresh content. Fresh out the kitchen. Yeah, I'll be back with more stuff. As always, please keep safe and hustle hard. I'm your guy, Sima Wells. Peace.